In a recent launch event hosted by Asus, we had a conversation with Mr. Dinesh Sharma, Vice President, Head Commercial PC, Asus India, and we got to know some interesting insights into what Asus is planning given the advent of the AI PC era.
I want to start this with just a simple question. So my colleague recently interviewed execs from Lenovo.
Yeah.
They had an event yesterday or day before. So they mentioned something very interesting. I was hearing the whole audio file, and they mentioned that markets are very different in nature. Some markets are more mature, some are not. How would you classify the Indian market? Do you consider it as a mature market or no?
If you really ask me, the buyer in the Indian market, whoever is the buyer, is significantly mature. Okay, like they really know like what they are buying, and therefore they do, a lot of them actually do proper reviews. They actually go and review the content, like what you guys also put up. They do the research and then they make the purchase. Now, market maturity definition, if it is only being like looked at from a perspective of the volume of the Indian market, then we are almost the third largest PC market in the world, just for information. Almost the third largest PC market. We are kind of like, sometimes Japan is number 3, we are number 3. Like, so that is the kind of fluctuation which is happening. And if you look at the potential of growth, then I would say it is massive. Because I was doing this analytics, where I was running ratio of, let's say, quarterly PC sale to the population of a country. And then if you were to look at this kind of a ratio, and you were to compare some of the top 2 markets of the world, which is US and China. So US is approximately a population of about 335 million, right? And China has a population which is quite similar to ours, approximately 1.4 billion. And if you then look at PC sales in those markets, China would be 5x of India. Okay, and with this kind of a similar ratio of population, US is almost 15x of India. So what we're going to see is that as our GDP grows, as our per capita income grows, and people start utilizing the people will start needing more and more PCs. Because for work you need a PC, because that's the device on which you create content, correct? And therefore you're going to see significant growth opportunity in India, and the volume of Indian market would grow a lot more moving forward. It's going to be a high growth market in our understanding.
Okay. So my first question was basically in terms of AI PCs, but I think you answered
more on the maturity of the market.
Yes.
Okay, AI PC market, if you talk about then its maturity. See, it is very similar to what we had when we launched Android smartphones in India, and I'm very happy to be part of that particular journey. Okay, I used to head category management for Samsung at that time, and we launched Galaxy S. So what we saw is that first we have to obviously educate the market about what are smartphones and how they're different from feature phones. And as more and more people got educated and you saw adoption of smartphones growing, you had a lot more application developers coming up and creating cool applications for the smartphones. We are at a similar inflection point in the PC market where AI-enabled PCs are going to come in, and you will see a lot more applications becoming more and more adapted for AI. There are going to be more and more adoption of AI technology which is there on the PC, and then give you new outcomes. Excel might still remain the same, but the point is that Excel will have new capabilities which are AI driven, which will make usage and outcomes which Excel gives you today much more easier and much more better. Maybe a word might remain the same. I'm just giving you some examples, then we can just go on and on. So for every single application, now there is an opportunity okay, to use the AI capabilities and come up with new functionalities and new outcomes which were not there before. And as this happens, the need for upgrade will also be driven, because suddenly you'll have the same application having certain functionalities on AI-enabled products and not having certain functionalities on PCs which are not having NPUs, and therefore you will feel a need that let me upgrade to a product which is with an NPU where I can make use of these cool functionalities,
right,
which are available with that NPU capability on the product. And therefore that is going to lead to a virtuous cycle of consumers adopting AI PCs and application developers finding a larger install base to do even more work, okay, on utilizing the opportunity that this larger install base of AI PC enables. And with like every other technology that we've seen, initially when the R&D is latest, it is very new and it is very new technology, the cost is a little higher. But as the technology gets more mass and it gets more democratized, the cost comes down, and cost coming down also leads to democratization. So it's all virtuous cycle. So what we are trying to say is that you will definitely see AI PCs also becoming much more affordable, and once it comes into the affordable segment, more people adopt it. There in that particular scenario, you will obviously see a larger number of AI applications getting developed, and it's going to lead to much better ecosystem.
So on paper it sounds great, but so you basically mentioned the whole problem that a consumer who has been using a traditional non-AI PC for their entire lifetime now not only has to understand what an AI PC is, they also have to invest it, which is especially for commercial PC segment, because
just like a person
have to invest big money to get AI PCs now.
So what we will see in commercial organizations is like some of the organizations have already come out with RFPs, which are very large organizations by the way, incorporating the new Ultra-Core series processors already. Okay, so if you are, it's like this adoption has already started. Okay, now what might happen in organizations is that certain organizations will go full scale, especially certain sectors like IT, ES, etc. Would be probably early adopters. Okay, like any new technology, you'll have an consumer adoption cycle, right? So you'll have early adopters, you'll have a hybrid approach where organization might say a certain set of users need these capabilities first, so I'm going to roll it out partially in my organization to these set of users. Another set of users that may not have this use case, similar to what they do today with devices as well, right? Some employees do not need very powerful devices. Some employees, they need very powerful devices. CXOs need different kind of devices. So, depending upon the user profile, companies are going to start deciding, who AI PC should be given to first, and we will start seeing incremental adoption. And at the same time, over a period of time, as costs get better, they will just make it a standard. Because in hardware, if something is going to come into your budget which is going to keep you more future ready, why would you not take it? So that will also lead to adoption, and then application framework would build on top of that, and application developers will have to go and also convince organizations that their applications are very much apt for it. One important thing that we need to understand from AI PC perspective, especially when it comes to business, is that if you don't have AI computing capability on the machine, you still have sometimes some worry of your data going to the cloud, right? And then getting processed and then you getting an outcome, which happens typically today. But in case of AI PC, the good part is your data processing is happening on the client. It's happening on the edge, right? It's happening on the machine, and it's not going out of the ecosystem.
Right.
And therefore that security getting enhanced also gives you more comfort to roll out more AI-based applications, in your organization, because data security or data sharing or who to share data with, what kind of cloud, etc., is one of the key concerns that any organization would have. And therefore, that concern gets pretty much addressed, with this new AI-enabled PCs which are coming out, and therefore you do the entire AI compute on your machine itself and you don't send the data to cloud.
Right. You mentioned the AI PC adoption curve. If you had to compare the adoption curve in India compared to the rest of the world, how would you judge it?
Too early to say. Too early to say, because you can see the models are just coming out globally. It's not like it's only being launched in India. It's being also launched elsewhere, and also India is part of it. It's not like it's getting launched delayed in India.
Right.
So we are at the same time launching our AI-enabled products both globally as well as in India. So we are at the same time, making this offering to the market. And how we will see adoption in India versus, let's say, adoption in other countries, only time will tell. Of course, what I can say is that ASPs would play a very important role. Let's say if a particular very developed country typically buys more expensive PCs, they will be able to buy AI PCs, obviously, because of their affordability power much faster as compared to, let's say, a market like India where the ASP might be lower. So that could be a hindering factor, your purchasing power capability. But adoption, I think Indians are very smart when it comes to, especially
speaking strictly about the
business users.
Business users.
Yeah, even
from still true, the ASP thing? I don't think so.
Why not? Because
how much IT spending are you expecting from big businesses?
Big businesses, I told you, it depends upon the industry. Like ITS will be still an early adopter.
Okay.
And it is all about, what is my ROI? So if a big business sees that they can adopt certain applications, which can be a game changer, give them competitive differentiation, and help them drive higher revenue by utilizing the AI capabilities which are coming on the AI PC, they'll be early adopters and they will not really worry about. So see, every big company is on a refresh cycle. Typically what we've seen is all the large companies are refreshing their IT, especially when it comes to endpoints, every 4 years. Okay, so almost 25% of the workforce, is getting a new PC every year, right? So it depends upon how they want to, phase out the old products and phase in the new models. And in this phase in of the new models, whether they'll go to AI PC or not, depending upon the budget, use cases, multiple dynamic factors are there that will actually determine that.
You mentioned that.
And I think this is true. This will be true not only for enterprises in India, but I think the thought process will be similar for enterprises globally.
Okay. You mentioned cybersecurity is a major concern for big businesses.
Yes.
For any business, right?
Yes.
Lenovo and all the other companies, they are doing major tie-ups. Recently, they did a tie-up with SentinelOne, AI enhanced, to bolster their cybersecurity on their commercial line of PCs.
Yes.
Does Asus have something on the table like that?
Of course.
Okay.
So I can come back to you immediately with the exact spec, but we are upgrading the BIOS of our PCs to much higher security standards with the NIST standards for BIOS. Okay. Secondly, in fact, we've got one of the most secure hardware, that you can actually buy in the PC market. So if I talk about security from a hardware perspective, because that's what device manufacturers enable. We have got clearly TPM or let's say a Titan C chip into our products across the board. So TPM 2.0 chip in, let's say, Windows-based platforms. You've got Titan C available in all our Chrome-based platforms. Second important thing is that when it comes to BIOS as well also. So we've got dual EEPROM capability coming up, on all our machines. Then all our products also come with an RJ45 port also. So if you want data security, or let's say you want to do even MAC binding on a machine, even on our thinnest and lightest laptop, you'll be able to do that. And of course, all our machines come with standard stuff like you can have biometric security in terms of fingerprint sensors, or all of them come with camera shutters, etc. So that's all hygiene. And also when it comes to even more secure solutions, we've got partnerships with companies like Absolute. So you can actually go for an absolute protection plan which is built into your BIOS. So even with a firmware upgrade, or even by changing the SSD, etc., your PC security can be controlled from a BIOS level, which cannot be penetrated. It can remain locked, secured, password protected, and BIOS cannot be easily tampered with. So we've got security to that extent, enabled into our products.
It has to be a major upgrade. How much is Asus banking on the refresh cycle when Microsoft stops support for Windows 10?
It's an industry level, growth driver, and therefore not only us, but I'm sure the entire ecosystem is looking forward to this mega change which is coming, and therefore 2025 is going to be a very interesting year where you've got two inflection points coming up in the industry. One is this upgrade which has to be done on the Microsoft OS because of end of support for Windows 10 coming up in 2025, I believe September, if I'm not wrong. And you've also got this AI PC coming up. So both the shifts are going to be very interesting coming up in 2025.
We've also got the ARM and Qualcomm exclusivity deal, which is coming to an end, but that's a different ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any projected numbers?
So
From
if you look at precise numbers, okay, we don't reveal the exact numbers, okay, but definitely we clearly see AI PCs starting to occupy a certain percentage of our sales next year. It could be as high as 10% of our sales easily in 2025 when we move forward with, especially when it comes to more let's say the premium and the flagship segment. We clearly see premium and flagship segment moving towards AI PCs, and therefore whatever share premium and flagship contributes will clearly start moving towards AI PCs much faster as compared to others.
There have been data coming up,
Yes.
and most of them say the same thing, but I'll just be very nitpicky.
Sure.
So the point I'm trying to get to is it is very clear and very evident that competition in this space, especially in the commercial AI PC space, is going to increase. It's going to boom.
Yes.
What is Asus's strategy, if I may?
See, we are looking at it in a comprehensive manner. We are also applying our design thinking strategy to AI PCs as well. So if you saw today, we've not only utilize the hardware prowess, okay, to ensure that you get the best performance, okay, and best sustained performance, okay, on AI processing platform on the Asus PC, because you might have seen, we built in advanced thermals,
right,
okay, to ensure that we can have a sustained 30-watt performance, okay, which gives you very good, performance would matter, right, because your CPU, NPU, GPU, all three would need sustained performance to give you the best optimum performance outcome, right? And that's where we're using our thermal strength that we have in terms of building thermals into laptops. Second important thing that we've done is we've also used our application prowess. Okay, I don't know how much maybe you've seen or not, but we've got 1,000 plus R&D engineers working in AI alone within Asus right now. And therefore we've come up with even this application which is free of cost being supported on the product, which is the AI Asus Expert Meet application, which has so many things built into it, right? From meetings, AI being used in online meetings perspective, right? Which makes your life much more easier.
Right.
So it's like the differentiation now is not only just the hardware, but it's also the kind of applications that we're building on AI and making our hardware much more AI enabled smarter, like AI camera, AI noise cancellation, etc. being built in, which will be an amazing experience, and that's a value add that we're doing. We're moving away just from value add on the hardware side and differentiation on the hardware side, but we're also moving to value add on the software side and application side on AI.
All right. Last question.
Sure.
Going forward, what is the broader picture for Asus, both for commercial? I mean, of course, you will speak for commercial,
Yes.
but the broader picture for Asus going forward.
Yeah, okay.
See, we will stick to our vision. Okay, we want to be the most preferred PC brand, whether it is for commercial customers or for consumer customers. We want to be the
Right.
most preferred partner brand, and we want to have the happiest employees and partners in the ecosystem. And we believe that if we stick to these three fundamental vision goals that we have, rest will follow. And whether it is getting in great products, creating great solutions, creating great services, or let's say even tech ecosystem support, or let's say tech engineering support that we provide to large enterprises,
Okay.
all that is just tailing into our core goal, that we've set for ourselves, and we'll continue to pursue it relentlessly.
Okay. I know I said last question, but I need to ask this.
Please.
AMD CEO made a statement that
Yeah.
AMD processors are very underrepresented, especially when it comes to the commercial side laptops. And that's a question that I think pretty much bothers every tech journalist out there who has a conscience or a thinking mind. Does the expert book have something with AMD in the future?
So I think it'll be this particular occasion is probably not the time when I can answer this particular question.
Okay.
I'll come back to you later on this part.
All right. Noted.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a
Pleasure
lot.
chatting with you.
Always. Thanks a lot.